Welcome back, and happy 10-year anniversary to Batman Arkham Knight. This game means a lot to me. It was my reason for jumping over to the Xbox One, and the first Arkham title I truly was hyped for. I was 10 when it dropped, and while that might surprise some, many of my best Arkham memories are tied to this one. Arguably the most divisive of the original four, well, maybe tied with Origins. Before we dive into this though, this intro is just a bit of context. Feel free to skip to the timestamp on screen to jump straight into the main course of it, but don't forget to do all the YouTube stuff because it helps out a lot. Back on December 4th, 2024, I released a video titled Arkham Knight Perfected the Arkham Formula. It was my first Arkham focused video, after a mix of college projects and content on Red Dead Redemption 2 and Spider-Man 2. That video really helped launch the channel. It even led to the Arkham Knight side mission review series, which helped the channel grow more than I could have ever expected, and I owe a huge amount of success to that series because I'm sure a few of you watching found the channel through those videos. But back to the point at hand, that video was my initial attempt at making a video for a wider audience. While it had potential, it didn't quite hit the mark. Decent, but not polished. So today I'm giving it the remake it deserves with better footage, cleaner edits, background music that won't get copyrighted 4 months after the video was uploaded, I'm not salty at all, and voiceover that doesn't sound like it was recorded mid-flight. If you enjoy the video, hit subscribe and give it a like. It's the best way to support the channel and grow our little corner of the Batman fandom. Now sit back, relax, and welcome to Batman Arkham Knight 10 years later.
This is how it happened. This is how the Batman died.
Let me take you all the way back to the summer of 2009. Superhero games were on the decline. The best we'd gotten in the last few years was Lego Batman, and even the infinite power of Lego Batman couldn't stop people writing superhero games off. The world looked for a hero, and only one man could save it. Whilst all this was going on, a small studio by the name of Rocksteady would be given the rights to create a Batman game. Why, you ask? Well, because they just made a first-person shooter called Urban Chaos Riot Response, and somehow that justified the decision to give these silly Brits a shot at making history. Surely there's no way they'd pull it off. They were nobodies, and oh, who am I kidding? Come the summer of 2009, we all knew who they were. Batman Arkham Asylum took the world by storm, a true lightning in a bottle moment game. The Brits had crafted something disgusting, grimy, unnerving, dark, and all of the other words my brain can muster to describe Birmingham. But enough of that, what about Arkham Asylum? Well, many of those words can carry over to it, but one which does not is beautiful. Arkham Asylum was beautiful. The atmosphere was freaky, the combat was fluid, the characters were faithful, the story was fabulous, and of course the architecture was fantastic. Arkham Asylum was the best superhero game ever released by a pretty wide margin. Batman was back with a bang, in a serious house on serious Earth inspired love letter to the character and his lore. This came bundled with the combat that would actually make you feel like you could really kick someone into the air using your own self-propelled backwards roll, gorgeous graphics in a nasty way, and with enough fan service and lore for even the most hardcore Bat fan. And I'd be doing the game an injustice if I didn't mention the menu screen. It's the best menu screen ever, and I mean that. Just listen to this. Now, I've got a riddle. What do you get when you mix Escape from New York, No Man's Land, and a bad blood transfusion? Well, Batman Arkham City. Everyone was wondering just how Rocksteady would top their magnum opus, and Rocksteady went and did it again. Arkham City released a mere 2 years after Asylum, and took what made Asylum so good, and just added more. Everything. More maps, more characters, more moves, more depths, more Catwoman, and more icons of the Batman mythos. Arkham City was bigger. The game to end all games. If Arkham Asylum was Terminator, that meant City was Judgment Day. Arkham City blew the gaming world away, launching to rave reviews and still being heralded as the godfather of its genre. And this cemented Rocksteady atop the development mountain. They went 2 for 2 in games themed around the titular Dark Knight, and their stock was rising. Everyone wondered where they went now. The future? Batman Beyond, perhaps? Would other heroes get the Rocksteady treatment? Well, not quite, but you know where this is going. In the 4 years between Arkham City and the next Rocksteady installment into the franchise, a small game called Batman Arkham Origins would be released by WB Montreal. And despite the fact some of us loved it at the very start, a lot of you didn't, and that's fine, there's no harm in being wrong.
My deepest regret is I will not see you grow into the good man I know you will become. And finally, my son, I ask that you never abandon this city to fate.
Bigger, badder, and with more polygons than ever before, Rocksteady knew what they had to do. They needed to become something more, something darker. So where do we start with Arkham Knight? I think we should start with the story being the mixed bag that it is, a controversial side of the Dark Knight's fourth outing in the Arkhamverse, where the highs are as high as they can be, and the lows are genuinely kind of baffling to the point of unjustifiable coping from the small parts of the fandom who enjoy it. So let's start with the opening.
I've got you under my skin. I've got you deep in the heart of me. So deep in my heart that you're really a part of me. I've got you.
If there's three things I love in life, it's Frank Sinatra, Joker, and cremations. And this opening combines all three, and I really do love it. The close-ups of the metal turning as Joker is burned and finally put to a permanent end as the cutscene transitions into the now famous "This is how it happened, this is how the Batman died" line from Gordon is just cinema.
This is how it happened. This is how the Batman died.
But that's only the beginning. Before we can go any further, we do need to discuss the anti-hero in the torture chair, Jason Todd. Spoiler alert, but Jason Todd is the Arkham Knight. It's crazy, I know, but the first time I saw this twist in 2015, I was amazed. I was also 10, which I think goes to show how good this twist actually is. Look, I know some of you think this twist is pure cinema, but objectively, it's not great. From the time you spend in Panessa Studios early on in the game basically tells you who the Knight is. There is no way Batman would know exactly how Jason was tortured by Joker in Arkham. And don't give me the Joker filmed it and sent it to Batman, because he didn't film it all. Rocksteady are very meticulous with what they show on screen, and the final torture scene is the only one with a camera, something very heavily emphasised. And if anyone wants any more proof, the Arkham Wiki backs me, and despite its dubious credibility, it hasn't failed me yet. But I think to get a real grasp of the story, we actually need to talk about Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow. Scarecrow is one of the most under and misused characters in Batman's Rogues Gallery. He's such a cool character and it always feels like he's playing second fiddle, and so to see him be the big boss of this game was really nice to see. Going back to the asylum, and Killer Croc straight up ate this man like a fear-flavoured hot dog. Scarecrow had some of the most memorable parts of that game in the Arkhamverse, bending the Dark Knight's mind and even on one occasion messing with the
Did anyone catch the game last night?
And although we never directly saw him in Arkham City, we got huge hints at his possible return in the form of a few Easter eggs which set up his grand return in Night. I think he was used really well overall. Not enough, but what they did with him in his limited screen time was good and faithful to the character, and so he returned, this time with a bomb threat and a grudge. Scarecrow, voiced by John Noble, basically says that because of Batman getting him eaten by Croc back at the asylum, he's going to expose the myth of Batman. He's sick to death of the mythic status of Batman, and the best way to expose him is to make him fail. So he's going to spread his fear toxin all over the city by nefarious and morally questionable means. He's going to commit mass domestic terrorism. And so the city evacuates. Initially I wondered why he'd even evacuate the city if he wanted to launch a gas attack on it. Well, it turns out tonight isn't about actually hurting the people of Gotham. It's about breaking them, and breaking the Batman in front of them to prove that he is just a man. Scarecrow's plan is a really cool setup for a story. He doesn't want to physically kill Batman, he wants to break him and show everyone that he's a fraud. Thus, in a roundabout way, sort of killing Batman. It's actually a great plan, but anyway, I think the dynamic between Scarecrow and Batman is always interesting in some ways, even more so than Batman and the Joker. They're two sides of the same coin, they both use fear to their advantage, and therefore I think they understand each other in a way that other villains don't quite get, and that's why I think Scarecrow works so well as the big bad. In the months since my original take of this video, I've done an entire video on why Scarecrow is Batman's ultimate foil in the Arkhamverse, which I'll link down below because it basically sums up all of my thoughts. But all you need to know for now is that I think this was a great choice. Between the Arkham Knight's militia being the physical threat and Scarecrow being the mental threat, Batman really gets put through the ringer in this game, and it all comes to a head during the Nightfall Protocol. After having his identity shown to the world by Scarecrow, the myth of the Batman is dead. Scarecrow actually wins, and for this reason Bruce realises what he needs to do. He talks for the entire game like tonight is his last time as Batman, which leads me to believe he either knew that he wouldn't win in the traditional sense of locking him away, knew he'd have to become something greater after tonight after seeing how easily he lost control of the city, or understood what he'd have to do to beat Crane given the circumstances. And so, after being saved by his former protege in the halls of Arkham Asylum, he heads to Wayne Manor where the press gather to see the newly unmasked Wayne for the first time, and basically drops his house on himself to sell the fact Bruce and therefore Batman are dead. This whole ending is really well done. From entering the asylum at Scarecrow's mercy, we can see the writings on the wall. Joker is as far into Batman's head as he can be at this point, and the tipping point is near. A lot of people think this is an anticlimactic ending, giving the spectacle it could have been. But in all honesty, I think the point of this ending was to show that Batman has finally reached the limit of what he can do as this iteration of himself, hence why he needs to become something darker and more mythical in the game's final scene by utilising Scarecrow's fear gas, and I think it's a really poetic and fitting ending for Batman as we knew him. Obviously this would all be undone in that other game Rocksteady made, but I think as an ending for Arkham Batman it does its job really well. It doesn't outright kill him off so the character can still be used, and most importantly it doesn't do something disrespectful like shooting him in the head on a park bench. I mean, imagine how stupid that would be. One thing this game absolutely nails is its subtle hints and foreshadowing. One example that I really wanted to bring up is the scene which takes place where Barbara Gordon, having been kidnapped by Scarecrow and under the influence of fear toxin, quote unquote kills herself. During the scene she grabs a gun which Joker slides across the table to her, which instantly tells you that this isn't real, because the Joker isn't real, so therefore he can't move the gun on the table if it's real. If you actually notice this, the whole twist that Barbara is alive and well is spoiled or revealed as soon as she supposedly dies, and this whole scene is just amazing, because you're so caught up in the fact that Barbara is in the middle of seeing Batman as a monster and trying to take her own life, you don't realise this clearly isn't real. So in a way it's actually putting the player and Batman in the same shoes for the first time since Arkham Asylum, when Scarecrow ruined your console. Got you again. But basically Scarecrow is amazing, and the way the story puts Batman and the player in the same shoes is really well done. Had you or Batman realised this small detail in such an emotional scene, it would have been rendered useless, although I think in hindsight Batman did see this. Maybe not as it happened, but I think even under the emotional stress of the situation, he'd have gone back and thought about it and realised that Joker gave her the gun, and that's why his reaction was so subdued when he saw her alive. This could just be Batman being Batman, but considering his reaction when Jason reveals himself to be alive, I think he figured it out at some point. Maybe even on the roof, hence why he never tells anyone she's alive, because he simply doesn't get the chance. Just this little detail throws the entire story into a whole new light, and it's bits like this which really make this game what it is. It's in the fine details that the bigger picture is revealed, and I think this is Arkham Knight's best example of show don't tell. But what about the characters? I could have droned on about the story for hours, but we all know no one wants to hear that. After all, I'm not that big-headed that I genuinely think anyone would want to hear me talk about an Arkham game for multiple hours. Spoiler alert, but Joker dies in Arkham City, gulping down his last breath knowing Gotham isn't doing the same, and to absolutely no one's surprise, he comes back.
Miss me?
But again, to nobody's surprise, Mark Hamill smashes this character's performance and makes the Joker genuinely one of the best and most memorable characters of the game, and I think it's a perfect send-off to this character in this universe. Joker's presence in the game is really well done. It does amplify the story as a whole, and considering it's the last time we see the definitive voices for Batman and Joker sharing a screen in this universe, it was perfect, despite him not being real. But in a way, I think this added to his performance and gave him license to run a bit more free with the character, and do things that wouldn't be possible, or give commentary on events in the game which wouldn't have been possible had he have been real.
Oh, how chivalrous. Remember the time you carried me like that? I don't, because I was dead.
And the slow descent into desperation as he desperately tries to change Batman into the new and improved Joker is so fun to hear and watch, and it's one of Hamill's best performances as the Clown Prince of Crime. The comedy he brings to this version of the Joker hits so well given the tone of the rest of the game, and I think it goes to show how amazing Hamill is as the Joker, and I honestly think this might be one of, if not his best performance as the Clown Prince of Crime. And the same goes for his punchline. Kevin Conroy is the GOAT, we all know that, the Messi of vengeance, the HBK of TDK, the Batman of, well, Batmans. Kevin Conroy's passing felt like we lost a huge part of Batman as a character, so to have this game be his final project as the Arkham vs. Batman, the last one, there were no others, it's really nice. The raw emotion relative to Batman we see him throw into this performance is legendary, and as I said, for his partner in crime, I genuinely believe this might be one of, if not his single best performance he gave as the character. It's quintessential Batman, and it makes this game feel more like a celebration of Arkham and the relationship between Joker and Bats than a final game in a legendary series. One of the most common insults thrown at Arkham Batman is that he's emotionally detached from the situation he finds himself in, and although I think this is a good point to be made when talking about Arkham City, at least until the final chapter of the game,
so we both die. I'm fine with that.
Are you?
I don't agree that this is the case across the other games in the series, especially not Knight. Batman has just the right amount of emotion in this game to keep the story feel like it's really getting to him, and people often forget that although Batman is human, he's at the absolute peak of what a human can be. If he doesn't want to show emotion, he simply won't. He can't, and so when he does, it hits that much harder. And I can think of at least 5 scenes in this game where Batman falters or shows how badly the night is affecting him. The movie studios, Barb's fake-out suicide, the multiple times he sounds downright desperate when trying to figure out who the Knight is, his goodbyes with the Bat family, and that's only a few of them, but it's enough for me to be able to pretty confidently tell you that Arkham Knight got the best out of Kevin Conroy, and this felt much more akin to his performance in the animated series than anything in this universe, and I have nothing but love for that. Overall, Arkham Knight's story is good. It's probably the weakest of the franchise in terms of its overall feel, but it still serves as a great send-off for one of the most beloved renditions of the most beloved franchises in fiction. There's definitely some other things I could have pointed out, but for the sake of keeping my own sanity intact, given I'm nowhere near smart enough to point out the plot holes and inconsistencies, I'll leave it here and leave this section by saying I like Arkham Knight's story. It does what it set out to do and serves as a pretty tasteful ending for a character who deserved such an ending. Okay, I'm going to talk about it, the four-wheeled tank of Gotham. I know, but I promise I won't spend too long on it. Now, is it fun to finally have a drivable Batmobile in a huge Gotham? Of course, but did it need to feature in such important moments? Not at all. I am a certified Batmobile truther, and even I have my complaints with its seemingly omnipresent appearance in Arkham Knight. I still don't think the complaint should be levelled at its supposed overuse though, but instead at its misplacement within the story. I think there are important story beats, namely the Arkham Knight revealing he knows who Batman is, that take place in the tank, and I don't think that's necessary. I love its inclusion, and I love how it feels to drive, but I think its placement was poor. On the actual gameplay side of it though, I have no complaints. Tearing around the streets of Gotham, taking corners off buildings, smashing through walls and chasing down cars feels so good, and anyone who tells you otherwise is just lying. Even the combat feels good, and above all else, it's responsive. I like to think of the car as an extension of Batman in this game rather than another gadget, and I know that this same view could be used as a strike against it, but personally, I love it. It's the biggest leap in terms of gameplay mix-ups we get in in the franchise, and I think it works really well. I won't spend any more time on this because it's something I've covered on the channel before, but they're my basic thoughts in a nutshell. Arkham Knight is a Rocksteady game, and therefore has all the detail and care you'd expect, especially the character designs. I mean, they're just perfect. Batman's new suit moves like you'd expect a new semi-futuristic Batsuit too, and the cape design physics are as good as they've ever been. You can tell hundreds and hundreds of hours went into this Batsuit because it just looks out of this world, and although not my personal favourite of the Arkham suit designs, this definitely holds up and makes sense in the progression of Batsuit, being more militaristic and mean-looking than his previous outings. Characters even like Gordon and Aaron Cash maintain and build upon their classic looks from previous games. Commissioner Gordon takes on a more casual look in this game, but still keeps his iconography, and the same goes for Cash, and this is something this game did really well in terms of design, the iconography, and not straying too far from the source material in terms of design. Scarecrow is instantly recognisable despite the makeover, Joker keeps his classic Arkham look, Poison Ivy still can't find any damn clothes, Catwoman keeps her classic Arkham look with a few new changes, Killer Croc is still big and green, and although I'm not actually a fan of Croc's look in this game, I know it's because of his mutation, but it just doesn't strike me as much as his Asylum, City, or even Origins look. Riddler still dresses like a fucking dork, and the Penguin is still the average height of a Reddit mod. Overall, the character designs in this game are so good, and the fact this is the last time we'll see a lot of these characters on screen post Arkham City, it's really nice to see the care and attention Rocksteady put into making these characters as memorable and as faithful to the world that they built, without making them too silly or too far from the source material. I feel like I'd be cheating you if I didn't talk about the DLC cosmetics in this game, because it's the most support we've ever received for a Batman game, and as recently as last year, it received updates with the late addition of Battinson. Basically, every one of Batman's most memorable comic, film, and TV looks are here. 1989, Beyond, Origins, Flashpoint, 1970s first appearance, The Dark Knight, Batfleck, New 52, and so many more. They're all here, and this is one of the main reasons I love this game as much as I do. There's truly a Batman for everyone, and even the rest of the Bat fam got different looks. Robin has alternate looks, including the Burt Ward and original looks. Catwoman gets two different suits in the forms of her 60s and 90s look. Nightwing gets other suits, Harley gets her OG classic look, and even the Arkham Knight himself gets his Red Hood uniform for players to equip. And the best part is they all look absolutely amazing. Well, apart from Battinson, but that's besides the point. While we're on it though, we might as well talk about the other playable character, the Batmobile. The Batmobile gets a bunch of the most iconic looks brought over to the game, including but not limited to the Burton-mobile, the Best Batmobile, and the Tumbler, and although some of these don't have the combat capabilities of the Bat tank, the feeling of equipping the Burton suit and Batmobile in the snow and driving around like it's Batman Returns will never get old. Arkham Knight really is the most Batman of the Batman games. A suit for all occasions, a car for every track, and enough customization to make even the snobbiest of Batfan happy. The graphical side of Arkham Knight is where it really shines though. Batman Arkham Knight is a gorgeous game. All of the Arkham games have their own style and look about them. Arkham Asylum's famous gothic architecture combined with the contrasting high-tech security doors and cells, City's distinct districts each with their own recognisable landmark, Origins with its snow and comforting Christmassy feel, and finally Arkham Knight's sheer size and quintessential Gotham. Some detractors may say this game lacks the atmosphere of the previous entries, and it would be pretty hard to debate that in the traditional sense. With the bigger city comes the lack of smaller, more confined spaces, and chances to show that Asylum-esque darkness and eeriness. But I think to survive you need to adapt, and as the titular character would, Arkham Knight adapted and came out with the best in-game Gotham we'll likely ever get in the three main islands. Miagani Island, Founders Island, and Bleak Island are all amazing looking, but in my opinion the latter got a harsh name because there's nothing bleak about it. Laugh now, please. All the islands in this game feel different, and it carries that same sort of distinct, oh okay, I know where I am just by looking around factor that Arkham City mastered. Each part of the map has its own traversal challenges, whether it be the towering financial district of Founders Island, or the rundown streets of Bleak Island. Every area feels different to traverse, and this is all bookended by the shining beacons of Wayne Tower on either side of the city, with some islands even having multiple layers and thus different tones. Graphically, this game is outrageous, and is still one of the best looking games I've ever played, right up there with Red Dead Redemption 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. I've never known a game to stand the test of time this long. A whole decade has passed, and in terms of its graphical fidelity, it's still absolutely mind-blowing in so many ways. The rain flying off the cape when you glide after standing in the rain for a while, the facial animations just being on point, and my favourite part of any game, the lighting. The lighting in this game is so beautiful, and it really makes the world pop. Even in the city, the neon signs and militia turrets, drones and outposts jump out of the screen, because of how amazing they look and how well they contrast against the otherwise grimy streets of Gotham. This game also takes place in Halloween, which means not only is it perfect for an October playthrough once a year, it also has loads of Halloween-themed decorations scattered around the map, which add a layer of unease. The whole city was evacuated faster than you can say, "It's the freaking best!" And so the city was left in a state of use. The decorations and celebrations that were once prevalent were ditched and now leave a constant reminder of the people you're fighting for, as you try to take down Scarecrow and the Knight. And I think the whole city just looks outrageous, and although very different from its older brothers, I think it stands beside them as a great and immersive world for the Batman to make its hunting ground. I could probably do a whole video on the city of Gotham in this game, and I may well do that one day, because I think the environments in this game, let alone the city, are just amazing, and they carry that Arkham feel with them, and this carries over into the smallest of locations, like Kurt Langstrom's lab, Bruce Wayne's office, the Thomas Elliot Memorial Hospital, or even something a bit more polished and clean looking like the Stag airships. Arkham Knight is truly one of the most graphically stunning, visually pleasing and carefully crafted games that I've ever played, and combined with the hundreds of different suit and Batmobile combos you can sport, it makes for the best overall Batman experience out there. The city feels alive, riots take place, cops chase joyriding criminals around the city, and the city evolves as the night goes on, and of course the thug dialogue is back.
They just don't get it, do they? The mercenary life. Exactly. I put food on the table, blood diamonds in her jewelry box. I laundered all my money through her company. She didn't even have to ask. And she dumps me. I hear you. My other half's a human rights lawyer. He thinks I'm on a business trip.
I love this world and these characters, and I think Knight hit the nail on the head in terms of, oh god, I have to say it, don't I? Making the player feel like Batman. But what's a good map and stunning visuals without gameplay to boot? Well, let's see what Rocksteady cooked up here. Strap in, because this is where it gets good. Have you ever wanted to feel 1/5 of the power you feel after plugging something into a USB port for the first time all the time? Well, welcome to Batman Arkham Knight's combat. I won't say it's perfect, but it really is. In my humble opinion, it's the best combat we've ever gotten in an Arkham game, and I love it. And in the next however long this takes, I'm going to tell you why it's so good, so get ready, because this is going to get pretty dramatic.
Now let's get this party started.
Free Flow Combat was born in 2009 in the halls of Arkham Asylum, a fast, hard-hitting way to dispatch of thugs. Although simple compared to modern combat systems, back in 2009 this changed the gaming landscape, and that's why every third-person game that isn't a Souls-like decided to use it for the entirety of the 2010s, and it's still a staple of video game combat now. You could smoothly transition from a combo of punches and kicks into a thrown batarang to keep the combo up from afar. It was beautiful, and the stealth wasn't half bad either. Simple, but still it gave you that feeling of being the Predator in a room of prey, hence its name, the Predator Stealth System. Fast forward to 2011 and Free Flow Mark II snatched the reins from Mark I and ran with it right into Arkham City. The gameplay followed the feeling of the games. It got bigger, deeper and more Batman than ever, bouncing from thug to thug like back in the Asylum, but this time all those gadgets you picked up on your way could be seamlessly thrown into your combos, like a Batarang, Batclaw or, ooh, what about a Bat Snack? In a room of 50 enemies you weren't in danger, you were the danger. The combat and stealth got an upgrade as big as the games they inhabited, full of features that made Asylum feel ancient a mere 2 years on from its first outing. Origins didn't improve much, but it wasn't supposed to. It was supposed to let Rocksteady cook, and cook they did. Say hello to Free Flow Mark III, a beautiful melody of combat and stealth splendour, a smooth, brutal and fun way of protecting Gotham from even the most stubborn of foe. If City and Origins were the category 1 and 3 kaijus, then Arkham Knight was the category 4 to 5 kaijus rolled into one. God, I love Pacific Rim. Arkham Knight looked at the work its forefathers had done for it, took the blueprint and added more depth and fluidity than ever imagined. Arkham Knight has a pretty low skill floor. Mash X and Y and take the other enemy types out last, as the other games did, but go beyond that and what you'll find is a tale of going beyond what anyone ever thought was possible. A delectable flurry of combat gadgets and above all else, fun. Arkham Knight is quicker than all of its predecessors thanks to the upgrades in hardware for both the player and the Bat. A tri-weaved bodysuit consisting of an outer and inner layer of a titanium-dipped tri-weave fibre mesh allows Batman to take down foes like never before, but this isn't the real reason we can finally hit Mach 10 while kicking the almighty god out of mercenaries and thugs. No, this advancement in ass-kicking is actually down to the new hardware in the real world. The Xbox One and PS4 allowed for Rocksteady to create a combat system like no other, by building on their past glories. Free flow remains untouched by any grubby fingers. Reach a combo of 3 hits and you'll enter a flow, a rhythm-based game of snakes and ladders. One mistake and you're back down to the beginning, but go past that point of no return and you hit free flow, being able to chain your hits, counters and gadget throws into one fluid set of button presses, which if executed correctly can lay out a room of ill-prepared criminals in a matter of seconds. Gadgets though play a bigger part than ever. A quick-fire Batarang flurry might knock a few guys down, but what about a Wonder Waff to chain all of those guys together? Or even a classic grab and smash with the old reliable Batclaw, an instant takedown to the uninitiated. Hell, why not try the Freeze Blast, a quick way to cool things down in the heat of the battle? Arkham Knight's integration of gadgets into combat is perfected, much like a lot of things in this game. This brings the skill ceiling to the atmosphere. How high can you actually go? Well, no, we should be asking how deep can you go. Use it all. Most weapons have a quick fire alternative, and those that don't simply aren't worth looking at. Because to be the Bat, you have to think like the Bat, and to do that you have to be efficient, have eyes in the back of your head, and above all else, be resourceful. Enter environmental takedowns, a new way to even the playing field. Batman doesn't kill, but his morals on life-changing injuries are flexible, and so are yours. You can throw goons into junction boxes, smash them into spotlights, freeze them half to death, bring down lights onto their head. It's all brutal, all grim, and all really cool, and only better serves the Batman fantasy of using your environment to your advantage. It's new, it's fun, and it's just awesome. But what's more awesome than that? Becoming the Batsman. No, not the Batman, we're going to go full cricket on them with this one. Batman had to become something darker, more unforgiving this time round, and now he can pick up the enemy bats and go to town on them, smashing all their ribs in one fell swoop, and the only way to get bowled out is if you get hit by one of the projectiles the petrified thugs might hurl your way. Use these weapons on a brute and it makes light work of them. And oh, did I mention you could use your standard special takedown and combine them with these weapons for some truly grim endings? Well, you can, and it's hard to watch at times, and all this in tandem with Batman's newfound aggression and tactic of just straight up ground and pounding people, things can get messy pretty quick. All these new ways to wreak havoc are nice, but the enemy adapts, and this time around the militia saw how Tiger and the rioting thugs of the asylum failed and brought some serious backup. The medic is the least aggressive of the new enemy types, and if left unchecked can undo all of your hard work and revive up to 3 of your favourite punching bags, which although good for combos is hell for the Dark Knight's efficiency, so it's best to take these guys down first before they electrocute some normal enemies, bring them back to life and electrocute them again and turn them into the world's worst electro cosplayers. The Arkham Knight also brought some of his big friends, brutes. There's some normal brutes who just need a good old-fashioned beatdown, but then there's the better equipped brutes who can seamlessly change between a select bunch of new weapons, that each need their own special weapon or combo to take down in a timely fashion. These guys can cause pain in both the bat and the ass, because they just don't give up. Whether it be a blade dodge takedown, a Batclaw, or just a classic punch out, these guys can be beaten away fairly easily, but if you're not paying attention, they will catch you off guard before you know they're there. I have a question. What's better than one highly trained vigilante with a penchant for violence and vengeance? That's right, 2 of them. For the first time in the Arkham franchise, the beloved Bat family members get to fight alongside the titular Caped Crusader, and this means the player can finally run it back to the days of Prime DX and break it down with Nightwing, Robin or Catwoman, and take down thugs at double the rate. Using the dual team takedown, a player can see the Bat combine forces with one of his closest allies in a way never previously seen in these games, and they hold their own against even the most hardy of criminals or mercenaries. This system is seldom used in the story compared to how much it should have been, but when it is, it's nice. Calling in Nightwing to flick someone in the air so Batman can come in and smash them right back down is never going to get old, especially with the way you can seamlessly transition from one hero to another with no delay. Arkham Knight's combat is all about depth. It's deeper than City went, gadgets fly off the handle like a 12-year-old on Modern Warfare, combos string together better than a Jay-Z verse, and most importantly, the whole thing is wrapped up in a nice, visually stunning package. All the combos, takedowns, punches, kicks, and beatdowns look gorgeous, taking the visual feast out of the Asylum mega prison and turning it into a visual buffet. Even the most bone-crushing flurry of punches looks like something out of a John Wick film, and this only enhances the experience. Free Flow Mark III has it all, the beauty, the beatdowns, and the Batman, and this can all be enhanced by spending your sweet Wayne Tech points, which can be used to upgrade your gadgets in ways only the smartest of R&D departments could think of. Everything here gets deeper with time, and the more time you spend using these gadgets and the new suit, you can really become the merchant of justice you came here to be. Arkham Knight allows you to become anything from a button-mashing buffoon to a seasoned veteran of the Arkham combat, combining all of your skills from the groundwork laid out by the 3 games that came before, and allowing you to go higher than ever before. But I think it's time to be quiet, survey our options, and get a bit stealthy. Predator encounters in Arkham Knight are better than ever. Yeah, the enemy AI is a little dense, but on our end, it's amazing. Batman moves faster than ever in combat and moves like a slight movement of wind in Predator sections, hitting thugs blindside from above, below, or even right in front of their faces, while they frantically look around for you like a bunch of scared monkeys. And this has never been easier. With the enhancements of the ever-faithful utility belt, stealth is as fun as it is satisfying. The concept is the same, a room of armed thugs, sometimes a hostage, but this'll be easy. Gargoyles are back to be used, an iconic staple of Arkham's stealth, but at the same time its biggest detractor, because you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you just stuck to the old faithful and abused the inverted takedown, because this system has been expanded on and built to last. The thugs aren't dumb anymore. Okay, they're not as dumb as they once were. They'll shoot down gargoyles or even rig them with bombs if you get too comfortable atop your stone perch. Of course though, you're Batman, so you can render these bombs useless using your Disruptor, the best gadget to utilise in stealth. The Disruptor allows you to turn the Predator arena into your playground. You can rig guns to explode on use, turn ammo boxes into electrical accidents waiting to happen, or even blow mines up on the same men who placed them. Add to this the fact you can render medics useless, and this thing is a perfect silent assassin. Its only drawback is its limited ammo capacity, but if you really need to move an enemy right above you so you can get the jump on them, then say hello to the voice synthesizer. With Arkham's newfangled toy, you can trick the prey into moving right into your trap by mimicking their boss's voice. A great addition, but after too many uses they'll switch radio channel and your newest toy is nothing more than an expensive paperweight. I'm sure you all remember detective mode, right? You, as I did, probably saw the entirety of Arkham Asylum through its blue-tinted lenses, but the thugs caught on to you. They have anti-detective mode repellent. Get it? These blue shiny guys can't be seen by the conventional Predator means. They have to be hunted like God intended, with prowess, brutality, and a bit of anger, because these guys will be the bane of your existence unless you check them early on, and make them useless. And this all comes together to ensure Arkham Knight remains one of the finest superhero experiences brought to console in gaming history on the stealth gameplay side. Arkham Knight was made with creativity in mind. Among the heap of hidden features to really encompass what it means to be the Bat, Rocksteady also knew what it meant to let the player become as creative as the Dark Knight and flex their muscles when dealing with a horde of unrelenting thugs or a room of unsuspecting militia, and this is the main reason why a lot of fans love this game. The story is serviceable, the ending is pretty good, the characters are memorable and faithful, the gameplay is smooth, and the Batmobile is fun. To me, Arkham Knight is the best overall package when it comes to being a Batman simulator. The city is huge and immersive, and I could spend hours at a time gliding around, taking out thugs and disappearing into the shadows. This game has it all. In my mind, it is the Arkham game when it comes to making the player really feel like Batman and letting them spread their leather wings. So, time for the overindulgent outro. This video is really special to me. It's one I wanted to release because the original form of this video meant a lot to me, and hopefully this remake does my original vision some justice. Thank you all so much for the support over the last few months, it means the world. Like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, and thank you, Batman Arkham Knight.
I've got you under my skin. I've got you deep in the heart of me, so deep in my heart that you're really a part of me. I've got you under my skin. I tried so not to give in. I've said to myself, this affair, it never will go so well. But why should I try to resist when, baby, I know damn well that I've got you under my skin. I'd sacrifice anything, come what might, for the sake of having you near, in spite of a warning voice comes in the night and repeats in my ear. Don't you know, you fool, you never can win. Use your mentality, wake up to reality. But each time I do, just the thought of you makes me stop before I begin, because I've got you under my skin. Would sacrifice anything, come what might, for the sake of having you near, in spite of a warning voice comes in the night and repeats how it yells in my ear. Don't you know, you fool, ain't no chance to win. Why not use your mentality, get up, wake up to reality. And each time I do, just the thought of you makes me stop just before I begin, because I've got you under my skin, and I like you under my skin.
This is how it happened. This is how the Batman died.